Now, from Southerner to Settler, it's the title of a new book by Susannah Schild, who also runs the resource-rich website, as I discovered, hikingintheholyland.com. The byline about the book there says it will bring us to, quote, experience the beauty, the difficulty, and the strength of one woman's journey to connect to her people and discover the depth of the land that is their home, close quote. Now, Susannah notably moved from New Orleans to Israel in 2003, at the time with her husband and 2 young children, if I understand correctly. And we're joined now by Susannah Schild. Thanks for joining us, author and creator, and hiking in the Holy Land. So thanks for coming to us from Neve Daniel in the West Bank. Look, your journey is a fascinating thing. To start at the basics here, you grew up in New Orleans, if I had that right, an Orthodox Jew from New Orleans. What brought you and kept you here and in the West Bank in particular?
I came to Israel in 2003, you got it right, with my husband and 2 small kids. I would say that when we moved here, I had no greater desire than to raise my children in a place that was wholesome and good, for a good place for Jewish children to be raised. That's what brought us here initially. And the reason I wrote this book is to sort of show people through my experiences how living in the land of Israel, and of course hiking in the land of Israel, but also just living in the land of Israel, can change your perspective so much about the importance of Israel, the importance of the Jewish state, and why modern Jews should be connected to the land of Israel, even perhaps live here. So even though I came for a certain set of reasons, at this point, my understanding of what it means to live here has changed dramatically, and I wanted to be able to share that with people.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with the concept of getting up close to it. There's no experience like it. It's certainly in a place that's so heavily discussed, let's put it that way, around the world. Got to see things for yourself. Look, an interesting aspect, I think, for many of our viewers is to meet the people living in the West Bank, so in focus, okay? Not a lot of exposure, not a lot of people, really. A settler, as it's referred to now. Many, I think, around the world would be interesting to find out that, look, a lot of people living out there come from places that we're familiar with, such as New Orleans. A lot of Americans living around you, just in Neve Daniel or other settlements at large. I mean, how do you describe, the community you're part of?
There are a lot of Americans. It's not in any way exclusively American. I think that the people who live here are generally very idealistic. They moved from America in pursuit of a dream of Aliyah, in pursuit of moving into Israel and acclimating themselves into and their families to this land. So I think that the West Bank and Gush Etzion in particular, where I live, is a very good area for this. It's a good mix of Israelis and Americans. So it's an easy place to move to from that perspective. I think that in addition, hiking in Gush Etzion and being in Gush Etzion, as was mentioned in the last interview or little report, it's sort of like the seat of things that happened in the Bible. We have Path of the Patriarchs, which is connected to Neve Daniel. It's a hike that I go on pretty much every week. And that's the path, theoretically, that Abraham followed to sacrifice his son, which didn't happen, obviously. The path that he would have followed. There's ancient ritual baths over there. Nearby is Herodian, where King Herod built his palace. And there's just many things here in this part of the country that connect a Jew to their story and to the experiences that they've learned about, perhaps growing up.
Look, what are your thoughts on the current moment we're in as well? I mean, in the long-term concept of living out there that so many debate, what are the deep hopes, and how has it changed among residents out there, given the new political power of people living in the settlements out there? Is it a new era in some ways?
I don't think so. I think, as from my experience living here over the past, 15 years, we've been in Gush Etzion, I haven't noticed much of a change in the new political era. Not only that, I feel like my role and what I do, both in terms of hiking the Holy Land and in terms of the book, is to sort of take a focus on the positive. I don't shy away from discussing the current political problems in the book, but I think that the environment, the climate that we live in, is one that very much focuses on the difficulty and on the negative and on the things that are, yes, challenging, and yes.
Is the conflict a big part of your life? I mean, Palestinian neighbors, this is what's in focus. Is this coming to your daily life?
Does it come into my daily life? I mean, it's hard to ignore. Living in Gush Etzion is not the same as living in Tel Aviv or some other place. But I think it actually, I would say, for the most part, comes into my life in a good way, meaning it makes it so that being here and, living your life with Palestinian Arabs nearby, I think gives you a broader understanding and allows you to not demonize any specific person, and allows you to see people for who they are and realize that while the political problems are great, these are actual people, humans on the ground that we're dealing with on both sides.
Absolutely. Look, Susannah Schild, thanks for being with us. Hiking in the Holy Land. I encourage our viewers to check out the website, of course, and From Southerner to Settler. I look forward to reading the book myself. So thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you.